Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with day 4 of my Christmas card challenge, and today I would like to show you how to make this window card that has got a laminated napkin inside that actually looks like vellum. As you can see, especially if I hold it from the other side, it makes a nice see-through scene, and the recipient can set it up and the light will hopefully fall in from one side, because the card itself is separate on the inside, so it can be set up like a tent card, which is a bit difficult to show on the video here. So what I've done for this is, again, as I said to you, I'm using up my stash from last year, and I made these last year to actually put around bottles, which is quite nice. You can just glue these onto any sort of drinking bottles and put fairy lights inside, which looks quite nice. But I thought, no, I should use these on cards this year. And I learned from Anne Melvin on Positively Papercraft how to laminate napkins. I'm going to link to her video below because she explains in detail how to do this. But it basically means you use a folder, the laminating sheets. You put the top layer of the napkin inside. You put 2 pieces of normal printing paper in between to keep the two from sticking together, and then you can have another layer on the other side, another layer of napkin, and you laminate this. And I didn't know that until I saw her video. You can actually get matte laminating sheets, which are really, really nice, and you get something which looks like vellum. And then I've still got the paper on this. You just peel this off. This is on the edges where where there was no napkin, so that actually stuck to the paper, and then you're left with something like this, and it's really nice to work with. So in order to use this for the window, the first thing I did was I measured the actual picture I wanted to have with one of my nesting dies. And I decided that this would be a good size because I can get all 3 birds in it. You see, this is the other way around from this design. And yeah, can get most of the socks in. But this would be really nice. Obviously, you can also make a card like this in a portrait format. The next thing I have done then, I've taken my cardstock and I have cut a frame from this. This cardstock, because it's going onto a 5x7 card, is 5.5 inches by 7, because I'm going to cut a little flap here on the top that will go around the original card and keep it in place. Now this cardstock, I'm going to show you, I got this from the works. It was really cheap, 50p for 15 different colours, and I thought it would be really, really nice. It's 200 GSM, but it is very flimsy. It is not ideal for this project, but I don't have that many other bright blue cardstock, so I thought I'm going to use this. So I decided anyway to double it up, so that's fine. So I just used the sheet, folded it in half, which then is nicer to keep it in place rather than trying to put the 2 frames together afterwards. And I've cut this to size already, as I said, 7 by 5.5. And then I just die cut this with my machine like this. So not so much on this one, but I could definitely see it on the first version. Because it's such a weird thin cardstock, my my embossing machine, my die cutting machine, the plates left some marks on it all over, and I thought I resolved this by putting this through with some sheets in between, but that didn't help. The marks from my plate still went through, and yeah, you can see it here, it just went all the way through, so that didn't help. And this is when I decided, never mind the marks, I just put it through with an embossing folder, and then this will sort of make the marks disappear, because you've got the beautiful embossing of the embossing folder. And I thought I'd just show you quickly how I do that, because my embossing folder is actually not 5x7, it's a smaller one. So once you've die cut the frame, and I deliberately left a bit of space here because I wanted the space to put the sentiment on, but keep in mind that you need the flap on the top, so don't go too far up with your frame. So I die cut this with the die cut, and then now you can cut this apart. You can just use your scissors because you're going to die cut it a bit more anyway afterwards. So, and just on the front bit that I'm going to use for the front, I've got my die cutting machine here. I hope you can see this. So what I'm going to do, I'll pop this in. I hope my camera focuses properly. I'll pop this in sideways, just like this. Let me just get this out of the way a bit more so you can see what I'm doing. With this pattern, it's quite easy because it is a pattern that is not continuous, so if you wanted to add another bit here, it's not a problem. If you got a certain pattern that sort of ends there, like, I don't know, flowers or whatever, that might not work. So use one that's a bit more random. Could be like dots, random dots or something like that. So that makes it easy. I didn't mist it this time because I'm going to only lightly emboss it. And you can see the sandwich I have is very, very loose. So all I want to do is just give it a bit of texture. So as you can see, it's done it halfway. So I'm just aligning it there next to where I've already embossed it. Again, try to keep it straight though, because it is a directional pattern. There we go. Yeah, so that's a good idea if you want to get rid of some marks on your cardstock and you don't know how to do that. So just pop this out of the way. So now this is the top bit. What I then need to do is, again, I found because it's such a flimsy cardstock, it doesn't cut that well with my scoreboard trimmer. So I'm going to use my proper guillotine because I just want to cut this slither off where I just cut it with the scissors, which is this side. Oops, handle came off. And again, yeah, it's not the best cardstock. So, and with the other one, the one we haven't embossed, gotta make sure I get the right one. You want to trim this down to just under 5 inches because we don't have the flap on this one, and we want to allow a bit for the fold. So, and then we need to score for the flap. So just getting my scoreboard. Again, comparing, making sure I'm doing on the right side. I actually have, or thought I had, marked this, but I can't remember now. Anyway, sometimes it's better to mark which one goes on the back and which direction, which one's the top. So with this one, as I said, we want to mark 1/2 inch for the flap. Let me just check it again. Want to be on the safe side. Also, sometimes it matters which way around you do it. depending on whether, yeah, it'll be this way around, whether it was centered the die before. So score it at 1/2 inch, which then gives you the edge there, sorry, the flap. And then what I like to do when I make a flap, I cut a bit off on either side. So now you want to use your die, the right way around, to roughly cut out your napkin. So align it so you've got an idea what you will see in the window, and then just take a pencil, just roughly cut there. This obviously will disappear in the in the frame anyway. So. And this cuts like vellum, so it's not going to tear like normal napkin. So make sure it fits. Yeah. So, and what I've used to assemble this, rather than my collal glue, I've just used some double-sided tape, which I have, oh, there it is, it's hiding under the red tape. This is just, I think I get this from the works, might be even Poundland, where you get 4 or 5 rolls in a pack. I find it really handy, really easy to tear. So with this one, with the other card, I had a bit more of a frame on the top. I've got more of a frame here, so I'm going to just use some slimmer tape there. That's why it's useful to have them in different widths. And I'm also going to use a little strip at the bottom. So I'm going to forward this from here when I peel it all off and stick this on. Okay, this is all stuck down now. Obviously the frame is still sticky where we've got the tape. So all I need to do now, and I'm going to use my Pritt stick, is I'm going to put a bit of glue on the edges here of the napkin. And then we can take our frame. I'm actually going to put this sideways, I find this easier. Line it up on one side and then press it down. There we go, I've got a bit of overhang there, which I'm just going to trim down with my scissors. So. Get my rubbish out of the way. So for the flap, I prefer to use some red tape because I find that is longer lasting, so it means the flap will definitely not come off. So, getting my card base. Again, I can't remember if I've mentioned it in this video, but I definitely mentioned it in the last one. Make sure when you use shopboard cards that you measure them beforehand and make sure they actually are the size that they claim to be, because otherwise you would now be in the situation where you would have to trim this down. So what you do here is you align this, and then you fold this up slightly, make sure it touches the edge of the card, and then you fold it over. Start in the middle and then press it down, and then you will have it really neatly and straight. And there we go. Now all that's left to do is add our little sentiment. I popped it again on these double-sided foam strips. I will link to them below. I find them really handy, especially because it's so tricky to cut thin foam strips. And I'll just pop this at the bottom. I think I've said that before, I like to align things on my grid, and then it's easier to get things straight. There we go. Yeah, a 10-fold card with homemade vellum from a napkin. I hope you liked this video. If you did, I'd be happy if you give me a thumbs up, and you might like to subscribe to my channel to see more of my Christmas cards that I make during my challenge and my future cards. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.